Back the summer before my senior year, I was working 2 jobs at the time. You know, I didn't have much time for dating, and I actually had her number, and I texted her, and we texted for a couple days, and I asked her out on a date, and she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, we can go to the movies. And she said, you mind if my friend goes with us? And I said, I guess so. I mean, that's perfectly fine. And anyway, so her friend Kaylee actually came with us, and we went to the movies, went to go see Jurassic Park, and went through all that, and then it's been a long haul ever since. It went really well. There wasn't a lot of talking going on. You know, we still had a lot of things we had to find out about each other, get comfortable. Never would have thought we'd make it this far. I toted this ring around for probably 4 or 5 months, and I went and bought it. She had went in there, and I forgot what we were doing in the jewelry store. You know, she always come up with a reason to go in there, and we went in there, and she kind of made her way over to the engagement ring section, and she picked one out. And I said, well, you know, we'll have to see about that. You know, I ain't sure if we're to that point yet. Well, it wasn't even a couple weeks later, I went and picked it up. And then it seemed like every time we ended up in Dothan, it's, hey, let's go to the mall. Okay. And every time we went to the mall, we had to go in the jewelry store. Well, that first time we went in there and that ring was gone, she didn't know I had it. And she was mad. And it turned out they never got another one just like that in stock. So, she was irritated when I kept having to talk her out of picking out a new style, because she didn't know I had the only one she wanted in my pocket the whole time. And then, now I toted that thing around, and February came around, we ended up closing on the house, and got everything where it needed to be at, and I said, all right, it's time, we're gonna do it. And we spent the whole day working on the house, getting it ready, getting the back porch set up the way it needed to be. And she tried to stop by, actually, that day. She was working somewhere, and she was on her way back home. She said, hey, you want me to stop by? I said, no, God, no. And I was supposed to go to work that afternoon. She thought I actually was at work the day before, and I called in, and then the next afternoon, you know, we spent another day working on the house, got the back porch finished, and went and picked her up and told her we were going somewhere. And man, we hid the photographer behind the house. Her kids were asleep in the car, you know, and family was hiding everywhere. And we got back there on the back porch, and I think whenever we rounded the corner of the house, she knew what was going on. And we got down there, and I asked her the question that had been weighing on my heart, man. It was a magical moment. And I swear she's been planning this wedding since she was 6 years old. I mean, it's her dream, and definitely wouldn't impose any opinion on that one. But yeah, it's gonna be great. She spent her whole life planning it. It's gonna go the way she wants it to go. You know, it's gonna be great. I knew that Lynnsi was the one. We hadn't even been together very long, and we were sitting at her house, and her dad had cooked that night. And it might have been the first time I met her parents. It was very, very early on in the relationship, and we were sitting down and we were eating, and I just finished the last little bit on my plate, and I was getting getting something to drink, and I just set my silverware down, and she wasn't even halfway done eating, and she sat down what she was doing, and she got up and she looked at me. She said, "Are you done?" And I said, well, yeah, where do you want me to put the plate? She said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And she picked up my plate and she took it over to the sink and washed it out before she was even done with her food. And it was, at that minute, I knew. I just said, that's it. That you ain't gonna find that everywhere. That she's the one.
We met in 2015. He actually had my number from years ago. And then I guess he just decided to text me randomly one day. And we texted for about 2 days. And then he asked me to go on a date. And so I said yes. And we actually took my best friend with us because stranger danger. And I didn't know if this person was the correct, no, I'm kidding. Our parents worked together. So he picked me up at my house and we went to the movies, and then we went out to eat afterwards. It went good. We both talked way too much, so we didn't have any like awkward silence or anything. But he was pretending to be cool, and he tricked me. And then when I got to know him, he is a little dorky now. I had wanted Jamison to propose to me since probably like the first month that we dated, but we were 16, so that wasn't going to happen. But I think probably a good 6 months before he did it, I really was telling him that if he didn't propose, that I was going to leave him. After Christmas last year, I knew it was coming, but I was not sure when. He told me to get dressed, that we were going out to eat. And so we got dressed to go out to eat, and he said that he needed to run by our house that we had just bought a few months prior. And he told me that he needed to go check on something. So we left my house, and we were riding, and he was acting, you know, pretty normal. Like I didn't think anything of it. And then we kind of had pulled up in the yard, and I saw, he kept saying, "Look at that duck over there, look at that duck." And I was like, "There's no ducks in our pond." So then I turned my head the other way, and he had the lights, stringing lights hanging, and then he had a chandelier that he and his dad had put up, and I think they had decorated the porch with rose petals and ferns, and his mom, I think, did all of that. And then we walked over there, and he started to cry, and I was trying to cry, but really most of it just came out laughing. And I said that, "What are you doing?" And I knew what he was doing. And he got down on one knee, and he actually did have a little message that he said. I don't remember any of that because I think we were just either crying or laughing. And then he proposed, and I said yes, and then our whole entire family ran out from behind the house, which I had no idea about. I had no idea that they were there. And then we took lots of pictures and went out to eat afterwards. We are hoping that our house will get finished before we actually get married, but it's slow, but it's promising. And then afterwards, we really hope that we just never have to remodel a house again. I really love to travel, and he could stay at home all day long, but we compromise a little bit. He could hunt all day long. So he claims that there's going to be a lot of hunting trips in the future, and I claim there's going to be a lot of vacations to the Bahamas in the future. So we'll probably get our fair share of traveling and just live in our house, and we will never, ever, ever remodel a house again. I don't think you really had a choice if you wanted to propose or not.
Yeah, it seemed like every time we went to the mall, you always put in to go to the jewelry store, and I eventually caught the hint, and kept veering over to this one section, you know, engagement rings, and you picked out this one ring, and you didn't know it yet, but I went and got it, and then it seemed like the next time we went in there, that ring just wasn't there.
Yeah, you went that night, didn't you?
Yeah, and got pretty upset about that, if I remember right.
Yeah, I had my suspicions, but I wasn't for sure.
Yeah.
And then
toted around for about 4 months. Yeah, then finally decided it was time. We closed on the house.
Yeah, February. That was on Valentine's Day. We closed on our house.
Yeah, closed on the house, and decided it was time to pop the question. And the Friday before, I done on a Saturday. The Friday before, spent the whole day working on the house. And
I wasn't supposed to come, but I showed up.
Yeah, you showed up that day, and yeah, I forgot about it. You showed up that day, and then we worked on the house, and you didn't think nothing of it. And then that next Saturday morning, I called into work that night, and you didn't know it, to work on the house and get it finished.
Oh, I still didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I found that out today, right now.
Yeah. And then the next morning, I woke up, went over there, and you were working somewhere.
I had a pageant. It was the Miss Dale County pageant.
Yeah, you were working somewhere, and then you called me at one point. It was like, "Hey, are you still working on the house?" I was like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Do you think I should stop by?" I said, "No." And I was like, "I'll just meet you at your house." And we went up there, and I forgot what I told you we were going to do.
I think you said we were just going out to eat.
Yeah, we were going out to eat or something. I told you to look nice.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you had your nails done.
I always have my nails done.
Always had your nails done.
Yeah.
And, went to pull up in the yard, and
And you said, look at the duck.
Yeah, I said, look, there's a duck.
And there's no ducks in our pond.
No duck.
Yeah.
I was trying to take your attention off of the back porch because, you know, why else would it be
It was glowing,
all
yeah.
done up? And, yeah, it got back. I think we turned the corner on the house. I think he knew it was up. Yeah, you turned the corner of the house. I think he knew what was going on. And, you know,
And I was like, what are you doing? You're like, come on.
we had a photographer's car hid. The kids were asleep in the back.
Yeah.
She was all
Our
staked
children
out.
were asleep, yeah. And then we walked up there and you started crying.
Yeah, I teared up.
It was really cute though.
Yeah.
I was trying to make myself cry, you know.
And then it's kind of just a blur after that for me.
Yeah, I don't remember any of the words. Do you remember any of the words that came out of your mouth?
It's just kind of a blur.
I remember you just said, I just want to spend the rest of my life with you. And I just was giggling. I think I was like giggling the whole time.
Yeah, it didn't. I guess it didn't mean much to you.
No, I
you
just
just
don't do
laughed
good.
at me.
I don't do good under pressure and in front of people. And then you proposed, and I guess I said yes, right?
Yeah.
And then
I had to ask you like 3 hours later. Like, you said yes, right?
yeah, you couldn't remember. And then everybody came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went out to eat. That's about it.
Yeah.
Rest is history.